What's this? Okay. I told you I would give you an update on Luca. So he's been here 4 months, I think now, or close to that. I'm not really sure, but he was originally here for a 3-week board and train. 2 weeks into it, he attacked me. So he did this a few times where, like, he put some toys down on one of the beds and he peed on them. Usually I wasn't in the room, and then I would come in and he'd be standing there and I would see the puddle, because it wasn't just like he marked it, he like let loose, you know. And I would be like, did you do that? And then he would start growling at me. Watch this. Luca, no, drop. Good boy. Where's your ball? Where's your ball? Go get your ball. That's not your ball. It's over there. He knows all of his toys by name. If I tell him duck, he'll get the duck. If I tell him chicken, he'll get the chicken. He's a smart boy. Yeah, so he growled at me, and I just had a standoff with him. So basically, I stand my ground, I make hard eye contact with him, and I don't move forward unless he moves backward. He did that probably 3 times. Twice he did that. And both times he just gave up and walked away. So, okay. The time that he attacked me, he put some toys on the bed, and I'm watching him do it like, okay, I kind of know what you're going to do, right? And then he looks right at me and he pees on them, and I just said, no. And then he just full on, teeth showing, came at me, you know? Yeah, that was you. He came at me. He tried to bite me about 4 times. He nicked my hand. And he got a hold of my sleeve. Anyways, I managed to dodge the bites and had his e-collar remote on my neck. And I was able to get it and just crank it way up and give him a good high correction. He yelped, he jumped back, he knocked over a bucket. This was at the old place. We used to have to put buckets on the floor sometimes because the roof leaked. But anyways, he knocked over a bucket. That kind of freaked him out, and he just kind of ran away to the other side of the room. So I'm like, okay, well, that happened. So I don't know if you remember, but the people that had him said that he was aggressive, like he was resource guardy, stuff like that, you know, which he's totally not. Like, you just seen him drop that when I told him to drop. I could go take that ball from him if I want to. He'll easily give me anything or just drop anything. It's not an issue. Maybe he was doing that weird thing where he was putting stuff down, peeing on it, and then, you know, going at them. But they tried to return him to the breeder. So the breeder sent her friend over to pick him up from these people. And I don't know if you remember him back then, but he was a little bit crazy. Very, very high strung. He had Tasmanian devil syndrome. He'd jump all over you, grab the leash, grab your clothes, pull at you, just be, you know, a real jerk. And she thought it would be a good idea to take him to the dog park. So she took him to the dog park right after picking him up. One thing he did not like back then, he did not like to go into the car, and he did not like to go into a crate. that is all completely gone now. He loves the car and he goes into his crate, no problem. So she gets him out of the dog park, brings him in all full of piss and vinegar. He gets into a fight right away. They manage to break up the fight. She tries to get him out of the dog park and into her car. And while trying to get him into the car, he bites her. So he ended up at the dog pound in quarantine. That's when the breeder called me. And it happened to be a pound where I know them pretty well and I've worked with their dogs. So I asked them about him and I said, can I meet him? And they said, yeah, you can come down and meet him after quarantine. Quarantine is basically they have to keep him in jail for 2 weeks just to make sure that, like, the lady doesn't come down with rabies or whatever it was, you know. It's just something they make you do. So he has to be pretty much no contact with anyone except the ACOs that work there. So he finishes quarantine. That's when I met him. That's the first video with him. And, you know, he was kind of jumpy at me and all that good stuff, you know. And he got really sweet. And he buried his head, you know, in like between my legs and leaned his head up against me. You know, so I could see he had the side to him. It was like Jekyll and Hyde, you know. Anyways, fast forward 2 weeks later, after being with me, he attacks me. So I had a rescue lined up to take him after I was done working with him, and they were going to adopt him out. When I talked to them and I told them what happened, they were like, yeah, we can't really take him in like that. He'll just end up sitting here and he'll live his whole life in captivity if he's like that. So I said, totally understandable. The breeder didn't want him. The previous owners were like, he's not my dog. Once you took him, he wasn't my dog. And I said, listen, despite whose dog you think he is, only the owner can give up his medical records, and I need those. If I'm going to surrender him over to another rescue, I need his medical records. So I got the owner to give up the medical records and found out he was on Prozac, a full dose of Prozac at 10 months old. They put him on Prozac for anxiety, and a side effect of Prozac can be aggression. Well, he became aggressive. So them being lazy and not wanting to do training for stress or anxiety, instead putting him on Prozac caused him to be aggressive. He was going to be euthanized when I got him at the pound. And then after nobody wanted him, I'm like, listen, like, I don't know what to do with this dog. Like, you know, I may have to call the state ACO because he's not my property, you know what I mean? And but luckily I found another rescue that was willing to just kind of like sponsor him and you know, get like help adopt him out when he was all set. So I took it upon myself to keep him and just see what happens. I want to give the meds a chance to wear off. You're not supposed to just... See, they didn't say anything. They just gave them to me, and then he had no meds anymore. So he was cut off cold turkey, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to wean down slowly. And I'm sitting here thinking, there's a good chance that the meds are what caused this. You know, and I don't think he deserves to get put down. Luca, no. Stay out of there. I don't think he deserves to get put down, you know, because he's having a reaction to meds. So let me just let it get out of his system. Well, after that attack, I never had a problem with him. And he's just gotten better and better every day since then. He's a very sweet dog. He's very submissive, you know, like towards me at least anyways, you know. Oh, I know, I gotta refill that. So here's the thing, right? I'm not gonna let like anyone, just anyone, adopt him. I definitely want them to have like some experience, like working with trainers previously or something. I want them to have some knowledge of training or behavior, at least. Maybe they've experienced something similar in the past or whatever. He's very friendly to people. He's not an issue. You know what I mean? But my concern is he goes home somewhere new. Does he decide to challenge them in the same way that he challenged me? You know? And if that's the case, that's it. He just comes back. He comes back here and that's it. He's just going to have to live here. He's going to have to become my dog. I don't really want him. Not for any behavioral reason. It's just this. This. It never stops. It just comes out in clumps. It's like everywhere. Huh. I'm not one of those people that likes high maintenance dogs. Huh. And you gotta brush him all the time and he's gotta get groomed, and I'm not a huge fan of that stuff. I like short haired dogs like Eddie in this shed, and you barely see it. And I think he's, he needs full time with somebody, not part time, which is what he gets here, But that's the deal with him. I kind of, I want to say it was probably 95% med reaction. And then, even though he had that reaction from the meds, he still kind of like met his match. He learned, that when, so this is what I mean by his sweet side. Only he doesn't have the, is it Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? Who's the crazy one? I forget. But he doesn't really have that like crazy mouthy side, He just has this very, very sweet side. And he likes his toys and chewing on things and chewing on sticks and doing dog stuff and getting my hand extremely wet. He's just a very wet mouth. Oh, Pop. And then I touch him and I get tarred and feathered. You see? Ooh. He tar and feather me? Yeah. Oh my goodness. But if it becomes his only option, he's a good boy. But I think it'll work. I'm just not going to send him home with like, kids or something like that, even though I know he likes kids. Oh, good. You looked up all your hair. That's why your poop looks like a sweater. Huh. That's why your poop looks like a sweater, huh, Papa? Can't pet him without him touching you. He wants to touch you. And sometimes he has to use both hands, right? Use both hands sometimes. You use both hands. Yeah. I mean, you could do anything to him. You could touch him anywhere. He doesn't have any issues like that, But I think he'd be good. Somebody gets him out of here. Like somebody active, young couple or young person. Gets him out of here. Gives him a little bit of structure. And he'll be right as rain. Right, Pop. But that's the deal with him. That's why he's still here. In case you were wondering. Because, the first couple of weeks it was like, this dog is not aggressive. What are these people talking about? And then he just had a reaction, And like I said, he hasn't done it since. And I wanted to keep him here for a long time. I wanted him to stay here for a couple of months extra, just to make sure. Because it took 2 weeks the first time. I didn't want to go, a month and go, oh, well, he's good, adopt him out, and then he gets brought back, or he hurts somebody or something, because his intent was to do damage. There's no doubt about that. He thought he was going to be in charge, and he came at me, and his intent was to inflict pain. I think if somebody takes him, they just give him a little bit of structure and keep him active, he's going to settle right in. I think he would like the extra attention. He doesn't get a whole lot of out time, like personal time with me here, because we've got dogs coming and going, and I didn't let him on the couch because he's so hairy and stuff. But maybe somebody will, Maybe somebody who likes having something to care for in that way, that they groom him and all that stuff, Some girl who likes baby dolls or something like this, They just want something to care for. That's just not me, huh? Huh, Luca? I think you're such a good boy, though, huh? You a good boy, Pop? You is, huh? You set? What a good job. What a handsome fella. What a handsome fella. Oh. Yeah. Good boy. Where's your bally toy? Where's the ball? Did you lose it? Is it over there? Where's the ball? Where's the chicken? Where's your chicken? Chicken's inside. You want the chicken or the ball? Where's the ball? Do you know where it is? Go get the ball. Where is it? Go get it. Honestly, I don't know where it is. Is that it? Oh, there it is. He's smarter than me. Look at that. Good boy. Went for the ball, found a stick.